right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Looks like we got some folks already tuned in for our 2024 Shark Science Week Variety Hour. So we're so excited to have all of you tuning in right now. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to launch into some introductions. I kind of go over what this hour is going to hold, because we want to make this as fun and interactive as possible. We've got a live chat going over off on the right side. We've got Katie standing by to moderate some comments in through there as well. And you can see there's a pinned Q&A screen right up at the top. So if you have an FAQ, a frequently asked question that maybe we didn't talk about during any other part of Shark Science Week, go ahead and post that over there in the chat. We've got two segments coming up where we're going to take some questions from the audience, as well as some that we have pulled from social media. So after our intros, we'll get into our first FAQs round. We're going to be following that roughly around 7:15 with our live wheel of fossils right here. So we have a brand new slate of fossils that we're going to be uncovering, depending on what number we land on. After that, we're going to take back to the comments section and across all of our social media pages and look at some comments that people have left that may not have a good bit of truth to them. So we're going to debunk some internet comments on our own videos. After that, this one's really cool. I'm going to get blindfolded and I'm going to see if I can identify fossils blindfolded. So I'm hoping to get 100%, but I might be tricked. So we all know that one's going to come in around 7:30. We're going to follow that up with a second round of FAQs. And then if you are we've got a handful of people that have attended multiple events this week. So if you've attended 2 in-person events and you're tuning in tonight on the live stream, that means you've attended 3 of our Shark Science Week events. We want you to drop your name over here in the comments section. You can do the family last name, whatever we have on file with you, and you're going to be in the drawing for a $100 gift certificate off of one of our tours, as well as one of 4 $25 gift certificates. So there's 5 opportunities for folks to win prizes here tonight. That raffle is going to take place right at the end of the hour. So you definitely want to stick around to the very end and see if you win. We'll announce the winners live. And then really exciting, we get a very, very frequently asked question that is so frequent, we're not even including it in the FAQs. We're holding it to the very end of the video. It's one of our most asked questions, and we're going to be finally, after years, 8 years plus, we're going to be answering that question. So you definitely want to stick around until the very end to hear the answer to that question. All right, so first off, I mentioned briefly, and you might have seen some stuff kind of changing around on the social platforms a little bit. So I want to just do a quick introduction here to our newest hire. So we have Katie joining us tonight.
Hi, everyone.
And so Katie is our social media manager and administrative assistant that is kind of doing all the behind the scenes. If you've emailed, if you've called in, Katie is going to get you taken care of and covered.
I know, it's been great. We've had such an amazing Shark Science Week. I'm so excited to see people's names coming through that we've met all week long. So I'm marking you all off now to get ready to win those gift cards.
Yeah. So glad to have Katie on board. Lots of new kind of content coming out for social media as well. So we hope that you've enjoyed our newest segment, the Wheel of Fossils. We've got a couple of other themes that we're going to be kind of threading in through the videos as well. So hopefully you're enjoying that. Shameless plug, if you're not already following the channel or subscribe to us on Instagram, we also have a TikTok, Facebook as well. Give us a subscribe, give us a like and a follow. It's perfectly free and hopefully fun and educational for everyone too. So sadly, we were hoping that we would have both myself and our other paleontologist, Captain Mike, with me tonight. Unfortunately, he was not able to make it. He's out of the state right now. But we will definitely be getting another live stream going so that we can get a nice introduction and warm welcome to Captain Mike as well. He's the one that's been running all of our trips out to some of the outer barrier islands here in Charleston. So some of you guys might have already been on a boat with Mike. We love having him on board. He's a great addition to the team and behind the camera on all of the new YouTube videos as well. With that, we're going to go ahead and get into our first round of frequently asked questions from social media. And again, if you have one, drop it down there in the comments and we'll maybe pull it here after our first three. So up first, we have a question. This one came from YouTube. Why is sifting through a little sand on the beach such a problem in South Carolina that they needed to pass a law to ban it? So this user is referring to the fact that we are not allowed to dig and sift and screen for fossils in our navigable waterways here in South Carolina. So this fell under the 1991 South Carolina Antiquities Act, and a lot of you might have seen and asked us in person, hey, do I need a license to collect these fossils? Because I saw something mentioned about it. It's called a hobby diving license, and it's issued by the South Carolina Institute of Archaeology and Anthropology, and the fossil side is held kind of hosted and monitored through the South Carolina State Museum in Columbia. So this is a program that essentially monitors our natural resources, anything that's being found and discovered in the state. And the biggest thing is that, you know, a lot of people are like, oh man, big government's going to come take my shark teeth away. No one at the State Museum wants your megalodon teeth. You know, spoiler alert, there's a lot of them out there. So this program was put into place in 1991, essentially just to know, hey, are there articulated skeletons being found at the bottoms of our rivers? So you report quarterly things that you find. The state then has a couple of months to get back with you and let you know, hey, we'd like you to donate this, or hey, we want to see some more photos of this unusual fossil. If they don't say anything after that time period, it's yours to do whatever you want with it. You could smash it up with a hammer for all the State Museum cared at that point. I don't recommend that though, because fossils are very cool and you spend all that time to find them. But you know, people would sell fossils that they find diving, of course, and you know, you can display it, keep it, pass it down to kids. But donating fossils is very cool and is why this program was put in place. And we've had a lot of environmental degradation that has occurred because of people digging and sifting in our waterways. And so the state also kind of wanted to reel that in too, so that we're leaving as little of an impact on the environment as possible. And that's one of the reasons why our tours take place on shorelines that we use beachcombing to find all of our fossils. So thank you for that question. Next up, user on YouTube asks, I thought shark vertebrae were made from non-fossilizable, I think they mean fossilizable, cartilage. Sure you don't mean shark centra or centrum? The bony, just to clarify, the bony disc in the center of a shark's vert, in case I didn't catch that. So I've got a shark biology textbook here with me, authored by Abel and Grubbs. Very nice, approachable but technical text. And I've bookmarked a nice sentence in here because they talk about the vertebrae of sharks. And so, you know, I try and keep all of the language on the shorts and on the videos very approachable for the general public. Here's an example of something that might not be as approachable. The vertebrae hardened by minerals, firm support for heavy musculature. The notochord becomes constricted into defined vertebral centra that are calcified and non-compressible and serve as points of attachment for stronger swimming musculature. So right there, back to back, this biology about shark textbook used the word vertebra and centrum back to back, talking about the shark's what we call the cartilaginous endoskeleton. So sharks don't have bones. They have a skeleton made of soft cartilage, just like our ears and the tips of our noses. So it's very common for paleontologists and biologists to call the centrum, or the main part of a vertebra, because in our skeleton, the centrum is the main bony kind of tube with bony projections off of it. Collectively, that's called the vertebra. The centrum is the main bony part. In shark biology, it's very common for them to name the entire, or just the disc of the vertebra, as a vertebra or a centrum. Both are acceptable. So hope that clarified that for that user. Next up. All right. When some organic things like teeth fossilize, why do they turn black? Is it carbon? And carbon is not exactly the thing that's at play preserving our shark teeth and turning them black. The main thing there, and anyone that's been on a tour hears this word like 100 times in an hour, the rock responsible for turning shark teeth black is phosphate. So phosphate is a sedimentary rock, so a rock formed by depositing layers underneath the ocean. Now, phosphate forms chemically. It's right there at the boundary between oxygen-rich salt water and then salt water that doesn't have any oxygen in it at all. And it forms within other rock formations. And the makeup of phosphate, this rock that's preserving all the bones and teeth, is very similar to the structure of bones and teeth. So because of that pairing, it preserves those bones and teeth very, very nicely. Now, this rock, when we see it in the southeast, coming in from the ocean, is usually a deep, dark black color. And so that fossilization or permineralization process of minerals filling in the space of these teeth and bones takes place at minimum over a time span of 10,000 years. So not carbon, but phosphate. All right, do we have some from the comments?
Yeah, we've got 3 so far.
Excellent.
We'll start with Matt's question.
Okay.
Why is it hard to find fossils at the Isle of Palms?
Why is it hard to find fossils at IOP, or Isle of Palms, right here in South Carolina, in Charleston? Isle of Palms had some fossils that were brought up a few years back, up at the northern point of the island when they were dredging up sediment. Now, it's funny because dredging can giveth, dredging can taketh away. And in the case of IOP, it's kind of done both. So sometimes they pump sand from offshore that has fossils already mixed in it, and so they're put up on the beach, as was the case a few years ago, way up at the northern end of the island. But really, the rest of the island, anytime it's been renourished, they're pumping up pure sand, so we don't get fossils. Folly Beach has been a good case of this, where they went a few miles offshore in 2014 and hit a 3 million year old limestone deposit, pumped up 1 billion rocks with fossils in it. They're doing a dredging project right now. They're doing it from the sound side of the island. Absolutely no fossils washing up. I've walked it. It's just barren sand. All right, what's next? Let's do one more from that section.
Sure, this is from Declan. If we learned from fossils that dinosaurs can have feathers, why don't we see skin?
Okay, so Declan asked, if we've learned from fossils that dinosaurs had feathers, why can't we see their skin? And Declan, this is a really cool question because it shows how the science evolves over time and how our technology can enable us to see things that we previously didn't know existed. So early paleontology, let's say 1800s, 1900s, they're prepping out fossils, dinosaur fossils from out west. And it's like, okay, when you see this discolored rock, you know you're getting close to the bone, and you chisel all of that away. Well, we've been able to go in and look at these fossils from similar rock formations and possibly even collected at the same time period, 1800s, 1900s. We can now look at that with varying wavelengths of light. So just like we see visible light, we have ultraviolet light, we have infrared light, all these different wavelengths. We can scan fossils, and believe it or not, all of that like discolored stuff around some of these bones that they were chiseling away, was actually the skin. And so they can use these different wavelengths to take a look at that and say, holy cow, there's been dinosaur skin kind of and soft tissue that was preserved, but not in a form that we would have recognized initially, and many paleontologists didn't. There are also some places where we have dinosaur skin that has been fossilized too, so it is out there. But excellent question. All right. Let's see. We're looking like we're right on time, so we're going to go ahead and go on over here to the prize wheel now and do some live wheel of fossils. So let's give it a spin and see what fossil we're going to look at first. All right. Looks like fossil number 2. Fossil number 2.
All right, got number 2.
All right. Woohoo. Okay, so this is really cool. That one, it might be hard to see, but this is something we don't see too often here in the Low Country. On our tours, we find a lot of juvenile teeth from the Angustodon shark, so Megalodon's ancestor from 24 to 30 million years ago. However, this one is about the size of most Angustodons that we'll see on a tour. This is only a piece of one. Big giant root, giant cusplet right there, giant extra tooth with beautiful serrated edges. This is a piece of about a 4-inch long adult Angustodon's tooth. So just a really neat thing to see. And we'll post a picture, a close-up picture of all of the Wheel of Fossils and the blind fossil IDs to our stories on Instagram and Facebook. And that way you can get a good close-up look at some of these. So that's really cool. Well, all right, let's see what's next. Okay. Oh, fossil number 1. All right. Ooh. All right, so this one is curved. It looks a lot like a claw. See that? But if you saw it in person, you would notice that it's completely rock. So this is one of our favorite internal cavity words called steinkern. This is a preserved internal chamber from a nautilus that lived here during the Oligocene 30 million years ago. So it's called Aturia, and they got pretty big in the Eocene. The ones that we had here in the Oligocene, maybe about that big max. So this is really cool. It's missing a segment down here in the main part, but all of these would have kind of spiraled around just like an ammonite. And nautiloids were alive at the same time as ammonites. So it's a very long-lived species, pretty rare fossil to find here in the Low Country. So awesome fossil number 1. Let's see what's next. All right. Fossil number 6. Let's see. Woohoo. Fossil number 6 is something that a lot of people, when we're doing the fossil show and tell on the boat, ooh and ah over and say, I didn't know that existed. This is a giant tooth from a killer dolphin. It's out of the genus Ankylorhiza, which was recently named, and this one is just in beautiful condition. Comes from one of our favorite sites that we hunt here, and is one of the front teeth from that 18-foot long dolphin. Big serrated teeth in the back of the jaw, 3-foot plus long skull. Beautiful skull of one on display at the Mace Brown Museum of Natural History, right in downtown Charleston. Free museum to go visit, so I highly recommend it. Awesome. All right, let's see. Okay. All right, fossil number 5. Ooh, okay. This one, look at that. You can probably get a good look at that one. That has 3 teeth bumping up through the jaw. This comes from a fish called a wahoo. So people that are doing billfish fishing tournaments today actually can catch this species offshore, and big, jagged, sharp teeth, just kind of like tuna and barracuda. Big, long jawbones with these. This one is just preserved exceptionally well. We don't really find a lot of jaws that still have teeth in them. So definitely a cool one to highlight on our Wheel of Fossils here. All right, let's see who's next. Oh, try it again. All right. Looks like fossil number 11. Ooh, all right. So this one, I guarantee a lot of you have already seen this week and you didn't even realize it. Fossil number 11 is a thoracic vertebra from an alligator that lived here in the Ice Age. And the reason some of you might have already seen this one today is if I position it kind of like that on the table and bring my hand in like that, it looks very similar to the cover of a certain fossil field guide. This is the alligator vertebra that is featured on the front of my family's book, A Beachcomber's Guide to Fossils. So really cool alligator vertebra. We have this nice ball and socket articulation on there. This is something that we see in reptilians. Allows, kind of that nice side-to-side movement of their skeleton. Think of things like snakes and alligators and crocodiles, kind of with that sideways gait there. And then being a thoracic vertebra, of course, that's one right here in the rib cage of the animal. Awesome find. All right, let's see what's next. We'll say that's yellow. All right, fossil number 3. Ooh, you might have seen this one on an old Instagram reel, but if you look at this one this way, you can see it's the root of a tooth. And if you look at it like that, you'd be like, well, shoot, the tooth is broken. But then you turn it like this, and you can see it curves up right there. This is a deformed or a pathological tooth from a megalodon. So this happens whenever the tooth center, where the basically the growth area for the tooth is affected either genetically or by something like a stingray spine that goes through where the teeth start their life, completely destroys what the tooth is supposed to look like. And so we get this really weird, odd, crumpled, skewed, squiggly, sometimes split tip teeth. So pretty cool find that if it was just kind of looking like that, you might have think, oh, geez, that's just going to be a broken tooth, and you might throw it aside. Awesome tooth. Let's see if we can't get a couple more here. Almost. Oh, we've done a good job. Hey, there we go. Let's see, fossil number 10. Okay. There we go. So if a tooth has a deformity, and we can see that altering feature of the fossil before it becomes fossilized, we can also find features on other fossils that show interactions between species. This one is a dolphin vertebra, and if you just see kind of right here, there are a couple of lines that run across the surface diagonally. This dolphin vertebra has a slew of shark tooth bite marks running all over it. So really neat to see predation marks like that. We can see it from sharks, we can see it from stingrays, we can see it from these things called bone-eating worms. We have a picture of that in our Shark Tooth Hunting the Carolinas Charleston video. All kinds of things that will happen to the surface of a bone prior to it fossilizing that we can see. If you're on a terrestrial site, you can even see where rodents have gnawed away at the edges of a bone or an antler before it fossilized. So really cool story that a single bone can tell us right there. All right, let's see if we can't get a couple more here. Oh, we'll call that. All right, fossil number 8. We just talked about stingrays stinging the center of a shark jaw. Has anyone out there ever seen a stingray spine, tail spine, or barb that is that big? This thing is easily an inch across. Big, jagged, serrated barbs on either side. This one is the base of one. It's about 3 inches long and probably missing, I would say, another 4 to 5 inches worth of spine minimum. So that's the biggest one I've ever found, and definitely earns a nice place in the shelf in my collection in the drawers over there. Sweet. All right. Oh, good. Let's see. Fossil number 12. All right. Ooh, speaking of Ice Age, we can also find some pretty cool land mammal teeth. And this one comes from a camel that lived here in the Ice Age. So probably Paleolama. So if you have our field guide, you can look that up in the tooth section. This one was one that we found here in Charleston. Shows beautiful biting or occlusal surface there where it's grinding up lots of probably leaves, twig ends, kind of like deer of today, soft buds. So we call this a browser. It's not grinding grasses with flat teeth, but browsing on soft leafy vegetation. This one probably around 100,000 years old. Pretty young, actually. All right, let's see if we can get one more here. Only 3 left. Oh, perfect. Let's see. This will be our last one we'll do is fossil number 7. Let's see.
A heavy one.
Oh, that is heavy. All right. That's because we have one more Ice Age fossil here. That guy is an ankle bone from a horse. Same full-sized horses that we have alive today lived here during the Ice Age. Single-toed equus horses. Horses came from ancestors that were a little bit like small to medium-sized dogs back during the Eocene, so over 33 million years ago. And then they gradually lost toes as our climate changed, and we went from a forest-dominant ecosystem here in North America to more of a grassy plains. And so the horses didn't need to distribute their weight on the soft forest floor with all those toes, so they gradually lost those toes over time to where they ultimately have stood on their single middle digit right there. And that's why our horses today are only single-toed. So this one is the ankle bone, or the astragalus, from an Ice Age equus horse. Awesome. So that has been a look at paleontologist's private collection for our Wheel of Fossils segment. Next up, once I clear the sand out of here, paleontologist problems, am I right? We're going to get now to our comment debunking section. So let's see what the internet has in store. All right. One user on YouTube commented, "The best way is to scatter lots of fossilized shark teeth along the beach, then pick them up while filming a YouTube, spelled YouTube, video. So this was probably in response to one of our how to find shark teeth, or the best way to find shark teeth. And they think that we planted those teeth out there on the beach. And my message to them is, other YouTubers might, but you're picking a fight with the wrong channel, buddy, because we have never and will never plant a fossil on one of our tours. And if you don't believe us, well, then you can come on a trip and see for yourself. So thank you, User P. All right, next up. Okay, good. This is along the same vein. Buy a fossil rock, put it on sand, and then pretend that you just discovered it on a beach. Yes, that's how YouTubers make their videos. Again, some YouTubers might, but you're picking a fight with the wrong channel, bub. And our clients can testify to that fact. Plus, if we were going to do that, don't you think we would plant like a 6-inch megalodon tooth that was like super perfect? Maybe we'll have to make a video with the gag one sometime in the future. Thanks, Jay. All right, let's see what this guy says. Ooh, all right, he's coming for my knowledge. He says, I don't think you know what extinct means. I do give him credit. He spelled all of his words correct, even if he didn't use punctuation. And then someone commented to his, says he certainly doesn't. Maybe he just meant dead or fossilized, with a laughter and sweat dripping down the face emoji. And so he should have some sweat dripping down his face, because I knew exactly what I was saying and I dumbed it down for people on the internet. Apparently not enough for these folks. So I was talking about an extinct great white shark. And so they were thinking, yeah, great whites are alive today. Well, bub, I got news for you. There are species that were on our planet that are no longer alive today, and that's what we call extinct. So the tooth that we found in that video was one from Carcharodon histalis. It's a smooth-edged tooth, and it is the quote-unquote grandfather, 2 species ahead of today's great white shark. So just because something is extinct, or just because I say it's extinct, yeah, if it's not around today, it's going to be extinct, basically. All right, looks like we got one more here. User L says, shark tooth, not megalodon, too small, still pretty cool. All right, a few sentences there. I think this one was on a video that we had of a megalodon tooth, which it was a megalodon, covered in coral. It was really, really cool, and we could see one edge of the tooth. I think this was one that was found on a tour with Captain Mike, and completely encrusted with our northern star coral, which is something we see a lot in our present-day oceans. So it was modern coral growing on a fossil, and because that one edge was not covered up, we could tell, okay, based on the serrations, based on the crown thickness, and based on the absence of an extra tooth on the side, that this was a megalodon, because megalodon teeth do not have cusplets on the side. And so cusplets are extra teeth on the side of a tooth. So megalodon tooth up top, no cusplets on the side, no extra teeth. Angustodons or chubbutensis down here, extra teeth on the side. So megalodon teeth can be small. Some of the smallest that we see are going to be about an inch, and sometimes even smaller if they're posterior teeth in the corner of the jaw. So just because it's not 6, 7, 7.5 inches long doesn't mean it's not a megalodon. All right. So, oh boy, I think it's time for me to see if I can identify some fossils while being blindfolded. So, I'm nervous. Let's get this out of the way. I'm going to take the glasses off here. Don't need those. And we can verify that I can't see anything out of this as well. All right, you want to hold up some fingers, Katie?
Yeah, let's see. How many?
2.
Oh, okay. I
Did
don't
I-
think you can see. I don't think you
Oh,
can
okay,
see.
okay, I can't see.
All right, are you ready for your first fossil?
All right, place it in my hand. Oh boy. Ooh. Okay, so it's long and skinny. There's a couple of bumps off the side. Oh dear. Okay. I think I have a guess.
Oh.
I think I have a guess. Is this a stick? Is this a fossilized stick?
Yes.
Awesome!
It is a fossilized twig.
Haha. Okay, I'm gonna put this over here. Next one. Oh, tiny one. Oh, let's see. Is it pointy? Feels like we might have a shark tooth here. Oh, I think the shark tooth has rocks attached to it. But the rocks are covering up stuff. But I think based on how narrow this crown is, and we have a pretty broad Y-shaped root, I think we have a sand tiger. And I'll take my blindfold off at the end of this and we'll see if I get everything.
All right, next up.
Bigger. Let's see. Oh, this is easy. This is a lower taper molar. That's a nice crown. We got these two big broad lobes, and then we have something called the posterior cingulum of enamel. It's a little ridge or plateau of enamel across the back. Awesome. Love good taper tooth. All right. This one is lumpy. It's a lumpy fossil. This one might be one that I never did identify. It feels like a bone, not a tooth. I think this is going to be what's called a sesamoid. So it's a bone that kind of glides around in your tendons. Think a lot like your kneecap or patella would be a sesamoid. I think that's what this one is. So we'll see. Next.
I'm hoping this one will trick you.
Oh boy. Okay, let's see. Sometimes the sound can give it away. I was just talking with a client yesterday about the fact that we can identify some of our fossilized oyster shells based on the fact that they will kind of make a light tinging noise rather than a dull thunk. But best guess I can do on this one is a section of a shark coprolite. That's my guess. All right.
Got a couple more for you.
Let's see. Oh, tiny one. Tiny tooth. Okay, big, broad, robust root here. Are there I don't feel serrations on this side. Although I feel like I feel serrations and maybe a cuspid on this side. I'm going to go posterior Carcharicles tooth, so something in the megalodon family. We'll have to see. All right, next. Okay, what is this? This feels weird. Oh, okay. Oh, there's the symmetry. All right, so we have this nice ridge here, runs down the sagittal plane, the midpoint in the body. This is one of these unidentified swollen bones or neurocrania from a fish. And we tried to get it identified for the book. Has these little rabbit or Mickey Mouse ears kind of poking up there. But even a fish specialist wasn't able to tell us what this one is. All right, what's next? Okay, it's another shark tooth. It's rather T-shaped. It doesn't have serrations, I don't think. I'm going to go Mako shark tooth on this one. Hopefully.
Okay, maybe we'll end on this guy.
Oh, okay. Ooh, this one's heavy. Okay. This one is not complete. This is a broken fossil. It's a tympanic bulla, or an ear bone from a baleen whale. Yep. Yeah, there's a little curve, little comma-shaped structure if you look at it like that. It's very dense. All right. Is that what we're ending on?
Yeah, why don't you see
All right.
what you got right.
Oh, okay. Whew, it's so bright in here. Let's see. All right. So last one was indeed baleen whale ear bone. So there's 1 point for me. Let's see. This one that I called a Mako is probably going to be a lateral tooth from the extinct great white. So those root lobes are a little bit more squared off than we would see on a Mako. All right. Point for Katie. The fish skull, definitely got that one. Point for me. Oh, all right. Posterior tooth from the megalodon lineage, probably Chubbutensis. Very water-worn, so I did not feel any serrations on the distal or the short edge, but there were still a few that are there on the mesial or the long edge of the tooth. So, point for me. This thing. That was a good one.
Right.
So this is a piece of a carnivorous sea snail from the Goose Creek limestone called Ekphora. It's a really beautiful snail. I've only ever found really one complete one, and that was when I was in the actual Goose Creek limestone unit itself. So, point for Katie. Yeah, this thing. I remember finding it, and again, I have no clue what animal this goes to. This is truly a stumper. That it could be a sesamoid, but it could also be some really bizarre bird bone from Pelagornis, which is one of our large. Oh, actually, yep. You know what? This is a bird bone. Looking at this closer, I can see the inside is hollow. It's completely filled in with rock, so it's solid. So I got that one wrong. Point for Katie. 3 for 3 here.
Ooh, we're tied up.
Uh-oh. Tapir molar. That was an easy one. Really, really distinctive teeth that these guys have. So point for me. Now 4 to 3. The tooth with the rock on it. That is a sand tiger. So got the sand tiger. Now 5 to 3. And I almost got stumped on this one, but it is a fossilized twig. So 6 to 3. Not too bad. I'm pleased. We'll definitely be doing that one again. That was a lot of fun. All right, let's get these cleared out of here, and then we're going to get into another round of FAQs and pull some more from the comments section.
Yeah, we've got lots of questions.
Awesome, good. We will get those answered. All right. So let's first go to social media and see what they're saying over there. All right. It's interesting that you still refer to the genus name as Carcharicles instead of the Atotus that most scientists use now. Either way, good finds. So this commenter from a YouTube video is referring to the fact that I still say Carcharicles angustidens, Carcharicles chubbutensis, and Carcharicles megalodon. Well, a friend and colleague of mine was the one that actually, a couple of them really are ones that published prominent papers talking about the, or adopting the use of Atotus. This is a really in-depth, this question has a lot of parts that are still kind of up for debate. Carcharicles at one point was the young genus proposal name. A lot of this has to do with how you place the megalodon lineage with the lamniform or the great white sharks. as well as some of the other members of the otodonid sharks. We break this down in our book, and we kind of explain, here's where it was with Carcharodon, so the great white genus. Here's where it is with Carcharicles, the current safest bet. And then Atodus, that is a new, relative newcomer to the scientific scene in terms of the nomenclature. So whether or not I'm calling it Atodus versus Carcharicles, both are still used inside the scientific literature. Atodus is kind of the sexy new one, so everyone is kind of jumping on that bandwagon. We will see how the lineages parse out. It's really tough when you are studying fossil sharks to kind of figure out what was going on, because we have their teeth and their vertebrae to rely on. Every now and then the prismatic cartilage from the skull region and the gill or the branchial region. But a lot of what the science is behind studying megalodon are just loose teeth. There have never been a set that was found associated and articulated. So where we can actually see the half moon of upper jaw and lower jaw with a string of vertebrae leading in to know, hey, this is where this tooth goes, this is where this one goes, and this is where this one goes. So we're still holding out hope that someday we get a nice preserved specimen like that, that hopefully can kind of clarify a little bit more of the answer that goes behind this seemingly benign, simple question. All right, what's next? Okay, so this one's a long one. I'm going to show you guys. That's a long question, but it boils down to one simple question. So we mentioned a tooth that was found with Captain Mike the other day was a Paratodus benedini or benedini tooth, so false mako shark. We named it down to the species level. And this commenter is asking, if you cannot determine the rock unit that a tooth is found from on one of our dredged islands, what's the best way to identify the unnamed or brand new species of false mako from the Oligocene, which is still waiting on its name to be published, versus the Miocene through Pleistocene Paratodus benedini? How can you identify them? So the one from the Oligocene is much smaller, and it has little extra teeth on the sides in some positions. So a lot of what we were relying on for that identification was one locality where there's a whole lot of Miocene through Pliocene marine fossils. Two, size and robustness of the tooth. It was a rather chunky tooth with a rather chunky root. And so that's really kind of what we were going on. There are other sites that we collect at with clients that we find primarily 28 to 30 million year old shark teeth and other marine fossils. And over there we find the smaller Paratodus teeth that this commenter is asking about from the Oligocene. So it's a lot has to do with the size difference, the root robustness, and the presence and absence of cusplets. Now, that said, were we a little aggressive with that identification? Possibly. I would say if I worked in a museum collection, I would definitely have left that tooth as Paratodus spa. But I feel comfortable with clients and with the general beachcombing community, based on the size of that tooth, to have placed it within benedini. So good question. Often we want rocks attached to the fossil in order for us to tell the age of it. Provenance is important.
We have so many questions. I think
so many. All right.
Have in there.
Yeah, let's get into the comments.
Our first is from Addie, our future paleontologist we met this week. She asked, how do you tell the difference between a dinosaur and shark teeth?
How do I tell a difference between a dinosaur and shark teeth? So here in Charleston, the easy answer, the kind of the cop-out for that is that unfortunately we don't have dinosaur fossils here in Charleston. So our fossil record here in the Low Country, excluding stuff up towards Harleyville, goes back to about 30 million years. So that's 35 million years post-dinosaur extinction event. But outside of that, it really does have to tell with the rocks that you were in. So if you go to an area that does have Cretaceous fossils, say the southeastern corner of North Carolina, we can get 67 million year old fossils washing up. You can find, although they're not dinosaur teeth, they're mosasaur teeth up there. They look a little bit more like a football in cross section, and some of them will have some faint serrations, but usually they're kind of this broad curved tooth, smooth sides, and then like fluted little faceted edges to them. So good question. Basically it boils down to you have to know what rock unit you are in.
This is from Declan. Can you explain the difference between why a great white has survived and a megalodon has not?
Excellent question from Declan. Why is the great white here? Why isn't the megalodon? So this is basically competition. So we have two species, megalodon and great white, occupying what ecologists and biologists call the same ecological niche. So let's say that Declan is a great white shark and I'm a megalodon. Now, Declan, let's say he only needs like 10 cans of food to survive each day. And me as a megalodon, I need 10 cans of food as well. Maybe let's say I need 20 cans of food because I'm a little bigger. Well, Declan can ride his bicycle to the grocery store where they have 10 cans of shark food. And I have to walk as a megalodon. I'm a little slower than that great white. Well, we go at this every single day. Declan rides his bike to the grocery store, buys out those 10 cans of shark food, goes back to his house, has a nice full belly. I walk up to the grocery store and suddenly my section of food is completely sold out. So I walk back to my house. Next day, Declan rides his bike, 10 more cans of food, goes home, full belly. Me, no food, goes home, empty belly. This happens with multiple individuals over thousands of years. And so over a period of between 3.2 and 4 million years ago, so 800,000 years is our most probable extinction event of the megalodon. They were competing for the same food, for the same habitat, and the great whites just ultimately were better. We also see that great whites have the ability to thermoregulate. They can increase the temperature of their body. And so that also helped megalodons, or great whites, combat a cooling ocean. So excellent question.
I like this question. How often do you find Native American pottery on the beach?
How often do we find Native American pottery? So it depends on which beach you're at. Some of them, like some that are further south of Charleston, you could find pieces of pottery there pretty much every time. Same with some of the barrier islands south of downtown, you can get those there as well. But like for my river island adventures, we get like maybe one piece every 2 months or so. We got one the other day, just a few trips ago. But yeah, it really, a lot of this, I hate to sound like a broken record, it boils down to location. It really does.
Maybe we'll end on, what is the most interesting fossil you've encountered and why?
Most interesting fossil that I've encountered and why? I would have to say that would be an ammonite fossil right here in the Low Country. And it's one that I found. I've seen one other found by someone from a similar locality. And at first, when they showed me their ammonite fossil, I was like, where did you find this? And they told me the location here in the Low Country. And they're like, it could have also come from New York. And I'm like, well, it's not a South Carolina fossil, so it had to have come from New York. And you just can't remember where you found it, even though they swore it was from South Carolina. Then fast forward a few years later, lo and behold, I find the same exact thing right here. And had I not picked it up with my own hands, seen it with my own eyes, I would have assumed it was, just a contaminant fossil. This fossil is about 45 million years out of place, both with time and then miles and miles and miles out of place by geography. So this is a really cool phenomenon in science that we call reworking and transport. So transport, just like transportation, is something being taken from one place to another. That would have been based on ocean currents, rivers, and just a period of, super long amounts of time. Now, reworking is what happens when fossils are pulled from one deposit, put in, let's say, a gravel bar in a river. So you have fossils there sitting with modern bones and teeth at the time. All of that gets covered up and it gets fossilized. And that one fossil is with those younger fossils. Then let's say that gets eroded out into another harbor or estuary, and then it gets put with more fossils or more teeth and shells there. They fossilize. So now we have an old fossil from 2 time periods ago with younger fossils. So this has been reworked. It has been in one fossil deposit, then another and another as it gets pulled out and moved around. So that's what happened with this ammonite fossil, is it got moved around and reworked into younger deposits. So it was really crazy. It caught me off guard, and it's now at one of our local museums for future study. So excellent questions. And so that we don't run over on time, what we'll do is any awesome questions that we have that we didn't have time to answer during the FAQs section, maybe we'll do like a Q&A on a reel on social media, and we'll put up a short kind of with all of these like Ask a Paleontologist questions. So definitely keep them coming. Even if you're not watching in the live stream, drop those comments so that we can answer some of them on future live streams and in our reels. So we're now at the time where we're going to decide who won the $100 gift certificate and 4 other people that won those $25 gift certificates towards any of our tours. How many people do we have at play?
We have 7 different groups.
7. All right. So we've got 5 prizes. So this will be exciting. We're going to do the 4 $25 ones first, and then we will do our grand. Actually, we'll do our grand prize first, and then we'll do the 4 $25 ones.
Okay.
So everyone has an equal shot at the big one. So we have our own little spinning wheel over here.
Give it to you.
We got
here.
7
numbers, and then you'll spin the wheel.
Numbers, excellent. All right, I see them. Yes. All right, here we go. We get that drum roll going, and we're spinning. If I can click properly, it is number 3, which is Ashley Smith. The Ashley Smith group, thank you so much. You guys get the $100 gift certificate. We will reach out to you via the preferred method of contact that you gave us so that you can get your certificate and redeem it within a year on one of our tours. All right, next we're going to go through our 4 $25 gift certificates. So next up we have number 6. So Bree Troop. The Troop family, you get 1 $25 gift certificate. And don't forget, even if you're not staying tuned for the gift certificate, we still have that really frequently asked question coming up that I will be answering. All right, let's get one more $25 gift certificate going here to number 4, Kim Byers, the Byers family. Excellent, congratulations. Next, we have the Zolmans, Jenny Zolman. Congratulations, you get a $25 gift certificate. And then here goes our 4th, gift certificate goes to the Henry family, Caitlin Henry. Congratulations. Thank you all for attending 3 of our Shark Week events. Shark Science Week, we had a blast doing this. We're definitely doing it again next year, and we'll make sure we have lots of cool things and new updates for next year for sure. If anyone doesn't know information about the trips, again, that FAQ is coming up here in just 1 minute, I promise. Very frequently asked question. If you haven't been on a trip yet, I would love to see you on a trip, either myself or Captain Mike. You get to keep everything you find, and everyone always gets some really cool fossils. Ice Age fossils, pretty much everything that we looked at tonight is fair game. So yeah, I think, do you have any other Shark Week notes or comments or remarks?
I think it went great. It was so great to see everybody come back on the live stream that we met this week, and we'll definitely bring it back better than ever next year, right?
That's right. And we really enjoyed what we loved last night at the Paleo Roadshow, where we were identifying fossils for folks. We loved seeing everyone that has kind of been at these various events throughout the week making friends and kind of talking to other members in the community. It was just really cool to see that, folks were coming together like that. So that was awesome. We really enjoyed it. Okay, so I'll stop teasing you guys, I promise. So one of our most frequently asked questions online, it's on every single video, I swear. Especially the ones where we find some really cool stuff, which I think is every video. But anyway, everyone is always like, oh my gosh, where are you? What beach is this? Where are you hunting? Can I go there? What is this place? And we finally want to reveal where all of our amazing shark teeth are from. The beach that we walked for these amazing fossils is located at